Now we'll get into themes. Now this is the real customizable one where you can really change the look and feel. So first of all, we have just this theme section here, and we've got different settings. So window borders, it's talking about mostly the icons up here. So we'll go ahead and click that one. You can just click on them and it should give you two, in this case it gives you two different options. You just click over here. No, you got to click on this. Okay, so you got to click on the little button on the side here. And so you can choose between Mint X, which is the older style, and Mint Y, which is the newer style. But if you like the looks of this one, you can change it that way. And you can see it kind of changed the top bar to like a lighter gray, the title bar here. And then it changed the icon looks to, a little bit different. It's not the square, and that's a little bit larger. It's not the but they still function the same. They just look a little different. So it's a plus instead of a square, and the X doesn't have the circle around it and things like that. So so you can play with that if you prefer, like, oh yeah, maybe that looks a little nicer or whatever. It's up to you how you want to do it. You can mix and match the older style X with the newer style Y stuff as much as you'd like in here to whatever settings you'd like. So the icons, the same thing, a Mint Y teal. So this goes a little bit into what we were looking at initially in the earlier videos with the welcome screen settings, but here you can really customize it down even further, more specific. So if you need high contrast settings, you've got that here. And this is mostly just for your icons, so like your home icons and things like that. It'll change some of these. So by default, it's using the Mint Y ones, and I chose the teal color from the beginning, so we can do that. But I'll just do Mint X teal so you can see what the difference is. You can see the icons here change in the desktop. They look a little different. The icons down here also changed for Firefox and the terminal and all that. So the X and the Y versions are two completely separate icon sets. And I think even in here, yeah, you can see even here in the Linux Mint menu, the look and feel of all these icons has changed quite a bit to the older style, the X style icons. So if you prefer this look for, say, Firefox or the shutdown settings and quit settings and restart and all that folders, you can just choose one of the X versions and it will go to this older style look and feel of the icons. For a long while I did use those, but I'm rather used to the Mint Y stuff now, so I will stick with that. But you can change the different colors and things like that here if you'd prefer. Like you see, oh well, maybe I don't want the teal one, maybe I like dark red a little bit better. Then you can just change it right in here without having to go to the welcome screen and all that. And you have, again, greater control over specific settings, because you might want to mix Mint Y with Mint X on your window border, and you can do that in here instead of just a blanket thing. So the control settings, so here again, we have even further options. So if you want like all dark options, you can pick some of these, the Mint Y dark stuff, or some of these other ones here, high contrast again. But again, this is just the look and feel of the different buttons and things like that. I tend to try to match it up to whatever style and color, but you don't have to. You can do pink buttons and blue icons or teal icons or whatever. You can mix and match here. Like, I want gray buttons instead of teal, or I like my buttons to look dark instead of light. Well, you can do that too. It gives you that level of customization here at the individual settings. So, and that would change things like this. Like, I'll just choose the Mint X again just so you can see. Where's the Mint X teal? There it is. So you can see the whole window kind of changed a darker color. The buttons are now a little bit they stand out a little bit more instead of being more seamless with the Y styles, and they they look a little different. So you may decide that you like that, or no, you don't like it. Let me go back to the Y, or it's more streamlined and all that. So but it's up to you. All the options there are available. Your mouse pointer, if you would prefer a different look, like, I don't like the white one, I want the black one, or I want this other style one here, you can change how that looks here. And then the desktop, this is probably the major one to modify, I would say. Just in general, you can click that, and here personally, since as I was saying before, I'm more of a light theme person than a dark theme person, so I actually, by default, it's even though I picked, teal from before, and the bright setting on the welcome screen, it's still been using technically the dark teal option here, because you can choose mint white teal, and you'll see now it's a light theme at the bottom for the desktop panel and everything. And that goes for the menus as well. Now it is light theme here, and this is more what I personally prefer myself. And you can go ahead and change that to your liking here as well. Let me just show you what the Mint X teal looks like, just for the sake of comparison. So it is still light, but you can see the icons change their style a little bit. And yeah, so it's not as drastic a difference, I would say, as the so as the icon changes for the Mint, but it does look a little different, and you may prefer that just because of certain settings or the way that it looks. Like you can mix a Mint X teal desktop and panel and all that with everything else being Mint Y if you'd like. If you prefer it that way, there's options there for you too. So now if all of these still seem too limiting and you're just saying, no, this is not working for me, I need it to look a different way or work a different way, you can go over here to add remove. And what this is, you can see it's refreshing the cache at the bottom. So basically this is pulling custom themes that people have made for Mint, and you can install any of these that you want. There's a whole bunch, and they'll just make everything look and feel well. Some just make minor modifications, but others make really major modifications to how everything looks. Like here's one that tries to replicate the look of iOS, so an iOS-based Linux Mint theme. So if you have something that you're, very specific about, like, oh yeah, I really want to get the look and feel of, Ubuntu or the Vivaldi and Zorin OS for Linux, even though I'm on Mint or whatever, you have options here for that. There's all kinds of different stuff. You can you can change the look and feel rather of even like drastically to where people would have a hard time even recognizing it as Mint unless they're really up on a particular custom theme or something. They have ones that make it look like Windows. Like here's a Windows 10 light theme. Like it's similar to Windows. It's not going to be obviously not going to be one-to-one, but where you try to make it look and feel different, you can play around in here with these. All you got to do, if there's one you like, oh yeah, let me try this one here, you just click this button down here to install it. It will then show up as an option over here in the themes for you to select the different theme of it, and you can uninstall it if you decide you don't like it, or just to try it out or whatever. So if the regular built-in themes are not to your liking, not to your satisfaction, check here for sure to see what other people have made for Mint, and you can get a totally unique look that is very different from any of the stuff by default. So and if you further need to customize the way that themes work and look, you've got the settings option here. It says you can change between whether or not icons will show in menus. So if you have any need to change the icons and menus and buttons, you can toggle those here. But that's not really one that I mess with personally too much. But this down here can scroll bar behavior. It says jump to position when clicking in a trough. So what that means, I'll just show you over here. So the scroll bar is this here that it's talking about when you're scrolling something up or down. And what it means by a trough is you can see when I mouse over, it gets that little bar that kind of shows up to show you like, hey, there's a scroll bar here, and it goes all the way down. So it's talking about all this area here where this active little slider showing you where you're at, where it's not, is the trough. So what that means when it says jump to position when clicking in a trough. So in Linux by default, like if you're using Windows and you click further down the scroll bar, it just kind of jumps a little bit, like a page or so, and it just keeps doing that. But in Linux, it jumps right to that general area of it. So for example, if I wanted to go this far down the list, I just have to click, and you can see it drags it all the way down the list, instead of just going maybe here and maybe here and maybe here, like every time in Windows when you click in the scroll bar. So so that's what that's talking about, is it's this jumping behavior where you can jump specifically to a spot. But if you don't want it to do that, you can turn that off, and it will curb that sort of behavior. And it says use overlay scroll bars. I'm not really even I think that's talking about the fact that they can kind of like pop over on the side like that when they're not constantly visible. I think that's what that means. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, these are settings I don't mess with too much, obviously, but and it says override the current theme scroll bar width. So if you want to manually do the width of the scroll bar, like if you think it's too small and you want it to be larger or whatever, you can change that by doing that as well. So there's some more, little settings and things you can change. And in this box here, it just gives you an example of the scroll bar, so you can test it and everything right in here without having to jump to the other windows. Same with the bottom scroll bar, same thing. And it says changes will take effect the next time you log in and may not affect all applications. So even if I was messing with some of these settings right now, it wouldn't be able to show you unless I stopped the recording, restarted it, whatever. But you get the idea generally. This is where you can change the scroll bar behavior on the in your system if you need to. So there's a lot of ways to really change the look and feel just from these 4 settings here in the appearance. As you can see, the system already looks completely different compared to when this first set of recording started with the system settings here and the appearance. We changed the background, changed the scale of the fonts and the different size and even the type of fonts that are showing up. Changed the look and feel with the themes. It's now a totally bright theme system instead of dark, and so on and so forth. And that's just messing with the default settings as well. That's not even including custom themes and things like that. So there's really a lot you can do with just the appearance and the simple look and feel. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of ways you can make the system a little bit more your own. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn even more, you can find my books at bookstoread.com/Jonathan. That's books, the number 2, read.com/JONATHAN.